What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Games Live right here. You might be watching us live on YouTube, or you may be watching us after the fact. No matter how you are watching us, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. This is the show where we talk about all the goodness happening in the gaming world today. I am joined with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
Soapy, I just noticed something about about Discord in general. You have not, I noticed you did not change your Discord picture, but for some reason Discord was like, Soapy's background is no longer going to be bright yellow.
Yeah, I don't know why it changed that. I mean, that may have just been a thing they've recently changed.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think mine's the only one that's changed colors. I don't know why I'm not bright yellow anymore.
I will say, mine has always been the same thing. Yeah, mine has always been this kind of a gray. But I will say, I prefer the dark kind of grayish brown that I am looking at right now, mainly because of two things. One, when I look at the games live on my left screen, it's no longer like yellow into yellow. And also, I don't get yellow blasted into my face to where the right side of my face has a nice, coat of yellow light. So I prefer this. I love it. Discord, let's just keep it like this because I know Soapy did not touch anything. But we got a jam-packed show today as we are talking about many great gaming topics. We got some Far Cry. Far Cry news, yes, but more of a Far Cry discussion, kind of like Mold Breaker Monday with the discussion. We also got news that God of War will be delayed. We're going to be talking about E3's award ceremony and the awards that E3 is going to have. Is it needed? Should they have it? What do we think about it? And then Soapy gets to cry a little bit because, yes, was it Kate Blanchett? No, it was Jamie Lee Curtis posted a picture on Instagram giving us a first look at the Borderlands movie. And, of course, we got to take a look at that and judge it and judge this photo for what it is. But before we get into everything, let's get through the housekeeping lickety-split. Very easy today. Number one, if you are not in the greatest community in the universe, that is the MVP Discord, good news. You can join it today for free, too. Link is down below in the description. All you got to do is click the link. Boom. You click one more button. You are in the MVP Discord. You can be having the great conversations that are going on each and every day. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. That link is also down in the description. You can get rewarded at either the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tier for supporting us if you want to. Thank you to Pat Hill, our Patreon sponsor. And then last but not least, hit that sub button to stay tuned with everything going on with MVP Entertainment. Also hit that bell to be notified whenever anything goes up. So hit that sub button, hit that notification, or as I like to say, the notification bell to get the notification or notificated. That's the word I've been using this week. Notificated instead of notified about videos that we put up. But Soapy, the first thing we are diving into today has to do with Far Cry 6. And I've seen on the internet there have been mixed opinions about this and about kind of where we're kind of going with it is. So according to Polygon's article that they put out yesterday, it says Far Cry 6 story is unequivocally political, the game's narrative director says. It's a pivot from the previous stance Ubisoft developers have claimed in seeking to avoid controversy leading up to their AAA game launches. Our story is political. A story about a modern revolution must be, Navid Kouravari said in a statement posted on Monday. Far Cry 6 is set in a fictitious island nation of Yara, which is an analogue for Cuba under the communist regime of the past 62 years. But if anyone is seeking a simplified binary political statement specifically on the current political climate in Cuba, they won't find it. The other quote that he had, I thought there was another quote if I go down. Um, My goal is to empower our team to be fearless in the story. We were telling and we worked incredibly hard to do this over the last 5 years. We also tried to be very careful about how we approached our inspirations, which include Cuba, but also other countries around the world that have experienced political revolutions in their history. So, the question that we're kind of tackling today is Far Cry 6 being being political, having a political meaning behind its story. Where do you stand on it as a gamer, as someone who plays games? When you come to a game, a story game like Far Cry, is it a good thing that the story is going to be political, or is it a bad thing in your mind? Would it turn you off or turn you on?
I mean, I maybe not use the turn of phrase "turn me on," but
You know what I mean. Good or bad, basically.
yeah. See, I fall somewhere in the middle of like I don't mind it being political. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like that it's Ubisoft being political.
Okay.
That's kind of where I fall. And the reason I feel that way is because the fact that I think Ubisoft won't get into the nitty gritty of what like a
Mm-hmm.
smaller dev team would,
Yeah.
because Ubisoft obviously has ties all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's sort of a situation of where like they have to kind of protect their assets in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is going to be too broad of a stroke to be counted as political, but
Mm-hmm.
they'll count it as political.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean that's why I'm not super excited. Like I don't mind it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I am solely on the side of I like it. Like this is something to where by when you say like, oh, Far Cry will be political, to me, I look at it and yes, we haven't played the game yet. We haven't seen the game, watched the game, however you digest your games, whether you are a player or you are like Dave is, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna most likely for most games watch someone play it on YouTube or other streaming services. But like for me, I look at this and I go, it's not a bad thing. Like, don't overreact because something is political. Because when you play a game like Far Cry, yes, it is a fictitious story. It is a made up story. It isn't like Call of Duty, where like you could say Call of Duty is fictitious too, because they're not talking about real people. But like when you make a game about World War II, you can make up your own fake soldiers. But I'm sorry, FDR, Hitler, stuff like that, you can't make that up. You can't make up what had already happened in history when you're making a game about a set war. And for Far Cry and the games that like Far Cry, I like when a game goes in and says, hey, this is what our story's going to be. It might be, I use the word offensive, but like not really the same offensive as let's say a game like Leisure Suit Larry. I can never
Leisure.
say that game right. Leisure Suit Larry, where that game is just intended to offend people and be raunchy as hell. Where this one is kind of like, hey, we might offend some people with the politics that are in the game, but like for me, if I'm playing a story game, I want to use this up here. I want to use my noggin and actually be stimulated in that way in the story. I don't want it to be just a bland like, well, this is how it is. This is just this is what it is, and it's like it doesn't make you think. I want to feel for these characters. I want to be if I am playing like let's say for a game like Days Gone, or I'm trying to think God of War that we're going to talk about in a little bit. These kind of games where you are one character all the way through, I want to put myself in their shoes. I want to be that character. So, like, for me, I read this and I went, this shouldn't be a bad thing because if they do it right, it might be a very in depth story and it might get you, it might move you emotionally, which is exactly what we want games like this to do. Wrong?
I don't know. I think it's based in some point there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mostly just with me. I have no faith in Ubisoft being able to tell a story like this.
So it's just Ubisoft. Okay.
Yeah. And it's because they tried to tell this exact same story with Far Cry 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Far Cry 4 fucking sucked.
Okay.
Like, I think it's a Ubisoft is going to take the most broad strokes with it being political.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's like, okay, this isn't even political. You guys just said it was political to try to draw up a controversy about it.
Yeah, I mean, even the article says previously Ubisoft developers took pains to distance big budget games like Far Cry 5 about a white supremacist cult in rural Montana, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2 involving a government agency maintaining order in a time of anarchy from any political messaging and symbolism.
Yeah, and as well, I think it's when they don't touch the idea of politics, which is such like a hotbed issue,
Yeah.
they do a much better job. Like for instance, Far Cry 5 is phenomenal.
Yeah.
They didn't touch politics at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, dance away from politics, Ubisoft, you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
With the way that Ubisoft games normally go, especially with Far Cry games, where there's one overarching bad guy,
Yeah.
I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna take one stance and they're gonna be like, oh well, this other side's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they tried to have this whole thing in Far Cry 4, which Far Cry 4 is old. I don't give a shit about spoiling it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you go against Pagan Min, who he's a dictator, basically just a general shit person, blah 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 blah. Just like every dictator's ever depicted in every media ever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you take down Pagan Min, and it turns out, oh, the people you're working with are also shit people.
Yeah.
Over, like, I think they're gonna do something like that again, and it's like, why didn't you... Oh, yeah, my internet randomly cut out. That was cool.
You're good. You're good. You're back. I hear you.
Yeah. Basically, that's just kind of what I think with it, of just a... They can be political, but you can't show bias like they did in 4.
Yeah. You kind of have to be almost like if you're going to tell this story, you got to be right down the line. You can't have a lean to like against or for basically the side that is going to represent your bad side is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, you can't show bias in the fact of like, oh, well, they're the bad guy. They're obviously the ones who are wrong. Like, you need to show there's good and bad on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with politics. The politics, there's good and bad with every side.
Yeah, it's all gray area in politics. It's no black, no white, all gray. And to me, the one thing is that, like, people who are freaking out that, oh, this is going to be political, first, let's wait and see what the game is like. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe they say, oh, it's going to be political, but it ends up being just like Far Cry 5. But for me, the thing that I love that some games are able to do, and some developers are just able to do it effectively, is if you can get me to feel for the bad guy, where it's almost like the way I'll like kind of relate it to is yesterday Jake was talking about Dexter, and he goes, oh, the great thing about Dexter is you kind of sit there at times and you sympathize with him, and then you go, wait, am I sympathizing with a serial killer right now? That's if they can do that in this game and get me to actually sympathize with the bad guy, then it's like, oh, if they do that through their politics, I don't care that it's political, because you did something. You moved me emotionally, and that's the most important thing about a story-based game in my mind. Moving me emotionally and getting me to think about your game in a deep level.
Yeah, and just as well on top of that, I think and that's just another thing I'm worried about with Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. Ubisoft has never really been able to get people to care about villains. Like we like in Ubisoft games, we
Mm-hmm.
like the villain because they're just a badass.
Yeah.
Or like they do something that's cool, but like you don't sympathize with them. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Far Cry 5 with John Seed.
Mm-hmm.
John Seed's just fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't sympathize with him because he literally once again another spoiler for Far Cry 5, but get over it, the game's like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He literally nukes fucking Montana
Mm-hmm.
when he loses.
Yeah.
To where it's like it's essentially like he basically fully has a full-on plan of just turning everyone to a bliss drug addict and basically worshiping him like a god. And like just in with their other characters, well,
Mm-hmm.
Pagan Min, like Pagan Min, they're just like, oh, he's kind of funny,
Yeah.
and like he knows your character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Far Cry 3, like people bring up Voss all the time because Voss was just fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's the thing I'm worried with of like they're gonna try to make just the other person seem like a badass, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's fine, but in a political sphere, like I don't want to be like that guy's badass.
You need
I
an
want to be like
intellectual kind of bad guy, right?
yeah, and that's what I'm worried about. And like obviously they've made smart bad guys in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like they had Hoyt, but like I'm gonna be honest here, Hoyt was garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm mostly worried about how are they going to manage this
Yeah.
in a way of you make the villain interesting enough that people want to stay around
Mm-hmm.
while also having it to where like you're trying to say a political message
Mm-hmm.
because like if and even that I think this is gonna be the most cookie cutter political message of all time. It's gonna be like communism bad, okay.
Communism's bad, okay? It's what we're trying to tell. Like, I hope it's not just like that. That it's just like a, yep, you know what? Communism's bad. We're gonna go ahead and we were political. In YouTube chat, JD says that he's really excited for the game, and he's glad they aren't afraid to walk the line. He also says they do a great job of making up different groups or plots. Like he loved Far Cry 5, how they made up the cult, and he thinks that they made the cult believable. And that's another thing, like you're kind of hitting at, making it believable. Not being like, yeah, you're trying to be political, but like you said, you're just trying to make your bad guy a badass and not actually like this bad guy does not fit the story you are trying to tell. Any final things that you think we haven't hit on this before we should move on?
Oh, I think we basically hit
Okay.
everything.
So the next thing we're looking at is this is breaking news from today, Soapy. Uh, my first prediction has fallen. Although I will say, written down on the sheet, it says just wins game of the year. Doesn't say what year. Doesn't say this year. But I'm pretty sure I meant this year when we did it. And that is Sony's next God of War game, originally slated for 2021 release on PlayStation 5, has been pushed to 2022. The statement that we get from Herman Hulst, the developer at Santa Monica Studio, Hunter says, so we have currently two very big, very narrative-driven games in development, Horizon Forbidden West and the next God of War. And for both of those, they're frankly affected by access to performance capture and talent. He explained, for Horizon, we think we are on track to release this holiday season, but that isn't quite certain yet. And we're working as hard as we can to confirm that to you as soon as we can. The exact statement from the studio on Twitter said, since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Arturus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners, and families. With this in mind, we have made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you all of you who support our games, we've got some exciting things in the works that we can't wait to show you. Um, Soapy, the first thing I'll ask you about this is, do you think this delay has anything to do on the game itself? Or is it solely, hey, we had to pick between Horizon and God of War, and it looks like they're going with Horizon for this year? Is it that, or should there be a little grain of salt concern that, like, maybe God of War isn't as close to being done as people thought it would?
Yeah, I think it's that last part there. I think it's the I don't think it's ready for launch, or it's not close to ready just yet.
Yeah.
And I think may as well like just take an extra year of polish to, finish it off, and make sure that it's as bug free as possible by the time it comes out.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the thing that I think of, and I sit in the same vein, is I look at, like, the Horizon Forbidden West. We just saw gameplay on that. We haven't seen anything on God of War. Like, we're already, like, we're into June. One more month, we're halfway through the year already. So it's almost to the point of, like, all right, if this game is gonna come out in 2021, what's that kind of hype cycle gonna look like? Because you literally have not shown us anything. The only thing we have seen is that teaser that, oh, Ragnarok is coming. Oh, that kind of hype that we had after I want to say that was wasn't it the PS5 State of Play? That was the one where they released the PS5. They showed us that, and then the just terrible release of, like, oh, they'll go on sale tomorrow, but then they went on sale 20 minutes after the showcase, which was complete bullshit, even to this day. The other thing I was thinking with this is, so earlier today I was watching, so I listened to the Kind of Funny podcast, and they did their E3 predictions for this year. And one of the things that Greg said was that he is taking the stance, foot in the sand, you cannot move me, that Horizon Forbidden West will not release this year, that it will actually release in 2022. Not saying he's wrong, because even Hunter says in his quote, for Horizon, we think we are on track for this holiday release, but it's not quite certain yet. Do you think that this God of War news, do you think that this kind of solidifies that, hey, Horizon Forbidden West, that's going to come, that is for sure coming out this holiday season? Or is there still a possibility that that even gets delayed into 2022, even if it's like okay, well, you know what, we're going to delay it a year, kind of like the Cyberpunk treatment of, like, hey, we're going to delay it a month, to where it's like, instead of December, it releases in, like, January? Or do you think, okay, God of War got delayed, there's no way they can let Horizon Forbidden West hit 2022?
I mean, I think they could have both released in 2022. I don't know if Forbidden West gets moved back. Because obviously, the gameplay we saw wasn't super extensive. We didn't see most of it. We just saw like quick, like 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the 15 minutes, it looked fine. Obviously, it's basically the same game, like same gameplay wise, not meaning like exact same copy and paste game.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see. Oh, sorry about that. I mean, the yawn. But I would not be surprised if it stays slotted for this year, and like as we get closer to release, if they do decide to push it back, because there may be a portion of the game that they're not ready to launch. So, I mean, I don't think it's just because one gets delayed, the other like just absolutely can't.
See, I wonder if there's gonna be a pushback, not pushback, that's the wrong word, but influenced by Sony. And the reason why I say that is, I wonder if Sony bosses are going to say, all right, God of War got delayed. There's no way Forbidden West can get delayed now. We need a game to be one of those heavy hitting games in this holiday season. We got to make that holiday dollar, that Black Friday dollar, that Christmas dollar. We got to go cha-ching, cha-ching and get that in. So, like, there's a part of me that wonders if and I almost stand on the stance of like, okay, I'm almost going against Greg now. Now, when Greg said his thing, they obviously recorded the podcast way before today. So the news of God of War getting delayed was not even a thing. But with the news of God of War getting delayed, I almost go, okay, there's pretty much a 0.00000000001 chance in my mind that Forbidden West even gets delayed, because I wonder, will Sony push back at all to where it's like, hey, we need a game come holiday. We were expecting a God of War this year. We're not getting it. You say that Forbidden West should be ready by holiday. We got to make sure that window hits, because we got to make sure we get out there and we capitalize on the holiday season. And who knows? Right now, there's pretty much no pressure from like, hey, we got to do this because Xbox is doing this, and we got to kind of have our game out there because they're going to have a game. Maybe that all changes by maybe there's even something else in the works to where Sony doesn't even have to have that pushback, because it's like, okay, something's going to get released at E3 or announced at E3 to where like, okay, that's the thing that is going to be the holiday cash cow for Sony, to where they don't have to worry about God of War or Forbidden West being out there by holiday. But like, that part kind of makes me go, how much of a pushback will there be from Sony to get Forbidden West out there come holiday season? The next thing, Soapy, and this is something that I think many people might be kind of mixed on, is apparently E3 is going to have an all-new award show this year. According to Polygon, E3, less than 2 weeks away, everything on display during the show will be up for some newly created awards. E3 2021 will have an award show with honors chosen by editors from IGN, GameSpot, PC Gamer, and Games Radar. The pool of nominees cover every game showcased throughout E3's 4 days, online-only event. The award show's top honors will go to the most anticipated game overall, with selections given to the most anticipated games of certain publishers and developers. The winners will be announced on June 15th, the final day of the E3 broadcast. Soapy, in your mind, is this something that it's like, okay, this is cool, E3 is cool to do this, because it's like, hey, this is everything that we kind of heard from this week. Let's go ahead and give, like, what's the most anticipated game? What's this? What's that? Or is this just something to where it's like, you're getting kind of gimmicky. I don't know if I would have done this. Where do you fall on the E3 award show?
I fall into the portion of like, I don't think it's gimmicky. I think it's actually something that's kind of cool that they're focusing on. I think though my major thing with it is the fact of like, most anticipated is like really subjective. And it's mostly because I always make the joke that every time Nintendo shows up at an event, everyone's like, they win.
I mean,
get those fucking people.
It was announced today, Nintendo will have their showcase, their direct, on the last day of E3. So you know what they say? 2 things people remember the most. The first thing they see, the last thing they see. Looks like Nintendo trying to get them E3 awards. E3 awards, Nintendo confirmed.
Yeah, it's just the fact of, I think anticipated is too broad of a term. What I almost wish they would do,
what?
Instead of like this is the most anticipated game from this, from E3, I almost wish that like they would almost kind of do like a collaborative thing with the Game Awards and do like a halfway through the year awards. of where, like, obviously, for instance, like, by the time we reach the end of the year where the Game Awards comes around, you know, there's games that came out at the beginning of the year that we forget about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to where it's almost at a point of where it's like, okay, we're halfway through the year. This is literally the 6th month of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
why not just, like, work with them and basically have, like, a halfway through the year award? Of, like, basically awarding games for not coming out in, like, the end of the year.
Because that's another thing of, like, there's part of me that you make a good point, and I'll ask you, what do you think most? If you were developing the award, what would most anticipated game mean to you?
I think it would be one that generates the most hype.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, even that, like, anticipation is really hard to make, like, a definitive thing.
Okay.
Because the fact of, like, for instance, like, me and you may not like the same type of game, so we're going to be hyped about different games.
I mean, also...
Like, for instance, if you like a racing game, I don't.
Yeah.
That's not anticipated for me.
And I mean, you look at it, IGN, GameSpot, PC Gamer, Games Radar, I see what they're trying to do.
I don't know how many paid votes they're going to be.
I mean, I was getting there. But like my biggest question was, what other awards do you see? Because they don't really say any. Like, if you have most anticipated game, one of the ones I would think of is biggest surprise of E3. Like, but does that kind of overshadow anticipated? Because if it's a big surprise, more than likely that game is going to be anticipated. And is it like Cyberpunk? Cyberpunk, the 1 year with Keanu Reeves, would have been biggest surprise, but also would have been the most anticipated game because everyone was excited for Cyberpunk and to dive in to that world. It's going to be interesting to see, in my mind, what does this look like? I don't hate it. I'm like you. I like it. I actually love your idea of like, hey, Keeley, let's get in here. Let's kind of put in a mid-year award show to where it's like, let's give some games that came out in the beginning of the year their kind of due. Like, obviously, you're not crowning a game of the year in June, but you can have different categories and different things so that it's like, okay, we can go ahead and give some games some love that came out through January to June, because it seems like Game Awards, a lot of the ones that come out late get the most hype, unless you're like Animal Crossing. Unless you're Animal Crossing, come out in March, pandemic can help you have record sales, and then you can go ahead and kind of win some awards at the Game Awards. But Soapy, it is that time. The time that you have probably been waiting for the most, my friend. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to take a look at the first image that we have seen?
I want to go home.
Soapy, I want to go home, and I'm already home. So I pulled down the border and everything for our thing because I'm pulling up the article so you guys can see what we are talking about. But it looks like there is a tease for Cate Blanchett's Lilith on Instagram, and there's the Instagram post so you guys can see it. It was posted by Jamie Lee Curtis, who I believe she is playing Atlas. Correct, Soapy?
I don't know anymore. I honestly don't care anymore.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis is playing the Oracle character, or I gotta look it up, or is she playing the Doctor? I gotta look that up. But underneath the post, the part that you guys can't see, says, "Welcome to Borderlands, and the secret behind the scenes shot I took of Lilith, our legendary heroine, psycho blasting, vault hunting vixen with a bad attitude, and 2 Oscars to add to the badassery in her tool belt. The once and future queen of everything. Hashtag Cate Blanchett. Maybe next week, if you're nice and let them know you want more, and they don't fire me for posting this, I'll post another picture of Royland at Kevin Hart for real. Tiny Tina, Krieg, Claptrap, and Moy, Tanis, and soon you will get to see the amazing mix of
It's supposed to be
adventure,
moi, by the way.
moi,
But she's
sorry,
talking about her character.
and moi, Tannis, so she's playing Tannis. And
Yeah.
soon you will get to see the amazing mix of adventure and badonkadonk action and comedy from the brilliant minds of At Borderlands film director Israel Ross and game creator Randy Pitchford and the creator team of Gearbox and Picture Start Lionsgate. Rad Productions, hashtag Shutter Bugger. Soapy, what's your thought? You're the Borderlands guy. Gotta get your thought. What do you think of the picture? What do you think of the overly tacky and corny? Did Jamie Lee Curtis really write this, or did they just give this to her to copy and paste?
They definitely gave it to her to copy and paste. And as well, just like, don't show me a blacked out silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally,
Of
at
course,
this point, I'm
is
just
what you want Lilith to look like in silhouette form.
yeah, it's like, congratulations. I also look like Alfred Hitchcock in fucking silhouette. That doesn't mean I'm fucking special. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like too negative about this movie or something, but like it's just every time stuff about this movie comes out, I'm just like, why? Also, even at that, she's like, oh well, you can see stuff. I'll post pictures of Tiny Tina. It's like we've already seen behind the scenes of what Tiny Tina looks like.
Yeah.
Like we've already seen like behind the scenes stuff, and like I'll even say Tina looks fucking stupid. She's just wearing a fucking bike helmet.
I was gonna say, have they leaked stuff of Tiny Tina?
Yep. Well, we've seen like other behind the scenes stuff. Like we've seen them like people interacting with each other like on the set since they're actually recording now. Since they have all the cast set in stone. Basically, it's I don't know. Like I just don't care about this anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't even care if this movie ends up being good. Like I just don't care.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a movie that I'm going to be sitting here and kind of have the mindset of if it's good, great, surprise me. If it's not, I'm not going to have high expectations for it because we've talked about the casting time and time again. You nor I have been hyped about the casting to where I know there might be someone coming here that is like, guys, we got to get the Borderlands hype out there. We got to get this hype out there. We got to let them know that we want to see the movie. But it's like, if it's not going to be good, do you want to see it? Do you just want a Borderlands movie for Borderlands movie's sake? And maybe we're wrong. Maybe it will be a good movie. And I'm hoping I am wrong. But I'm just not hyped about it. Like, when she was like, oh, we'll give you a look at Royland. Please, no. No, I don't need to see...
I don't want to see 4-foot tall Roland.
Like, oh my god, I don't know how this movie got to where it is. I don't know how it got to where it is right now.
I'm just saying, dude, the only one I want to see is Claptrap. That's literally the only one I want to see.
Like, I don't think Blanchett's going to be bad as Lilith. That's the thing. Like,
I don't think the people are going to be bad. I think it's just the movie itself's going to be bad.
Kevin Hart will miss, and the only reason he will miss is he shouldn't be Royland. It's not anything against him. It's against the casting entirely. They only casted Kevin Hart because his name's Kevin fucking Hart.
Yeah, they basically wanted to make Jumanji again. You
know what they should have done if they wanted to? They should have just casted The Rock as Royland. Am I wrong?
By the way, his name's Roland, not Royland.
Royland, sorry. They should have just casted The Rock.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like Kevin Hart's probably a lot cheaper than The Rock is.
Well, yeah, but like with The Rock, there's your charisma, there's your body type.
I mean, but to be fair though, and like the only reason I don't like it is just the fact of like I don't doubt that Kevin Hart can make a serious role work. It's more of
physical attributes.
Yeah, of the fact Roland isn't tiny, and I know people would be like, "Oh, well, that shouldn't matter." Blah 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 blah. Like they already said, it's like a cinematic universe, and it's like, well,
what if they put him on stilts?
If they do, then I don't want to see him ever do stunts.
They put him in a Royland suit that's just basically his head is exposed.
You did it again. It's Roland, not Roland.
I'm gonna fuck it up. You're just gonna keep having to correct me.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to keep correcting me.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think it's just there's too many situations with this movie that I'm just not excited for.
Yeah.
It's the fact of we're getting this weird like hodgepodge of characters that like some of them like we already know like they already said that like this is a cinematic universe. This isn't attached to the games. So it's like okay, cool. So are we just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks with this cinematic universe?
Kind of seems like it. Am I wrong? Kind of seems like it.
Well, because it's like the mixture of people we have of essentially with Lilith, Roland, Krieg. It's like okay, that's already a weird mixture because Krieg was a borderline like maybe not even canon character in Borderlands.
Yeah.
And
it's
we're
just popularity,
it's just
Soapy. He's a popular character. Throw him on in.
I don't know. Maybe like I said, maybe I'm just overly negative about this movie, and I'm just not looking forward to it because he is a Borderlands fan. Like I don't want to see a franchise I love be dragged through the dirt.
No.
But at the same time, it's like. But at the same time, I just look at it and I'm just like, there's no fucking way that they were like, you know what, this is a really good idea. Let's get all these people that like. I don't doubt like Blanchett will do a good job. I don't doubt Jamie Lee Curtis will do a good job.
Yeah.
The only thing is like. They're casting people who are way older than these characters are supposed to be.
Exactly.
Like, Tannis is like 30.
Yeah.
Sounds like they were going off a.
Sounds like they were going off a name value more than anything.
Yeah, and where it's like, cool, you can go off name value. There's big name people that are also young.
Yeah.
Just for instance, what's her fucking name? It's gonna piss me off because of course now when I need to actually remember it.
Give me stuff that you've seen her in. Maybe I can.
She was one of the people who was in Doctor Who.
Okay, that doesn't help me.
It's she was in the movie. I think it's Oculus. I think the movie's Oculus. It's like it's a horror movie.
Okay, doesn't fucking help me. I can't help you then, Soapy. Thought I'd be able to help you. She wasn't the Doctor Who, right?
No. It pissed me off that I can't fucking think of who it is.
Soapy's like, I need to figure this out. Are those the
It's
only...
like Karen Gillan, I think is how you say her name.
Oh, she was Karen Gilliam. She was in Jumanji with Kevin Hart and them.
Yeah, cast her for Lilith. MCU, she looks more like fucking Lilith.
Yeah.
Like you can save money. You don't have to and obviously I know people would be like, oh well she's British, but it's like, okay. Cinematic universe, my guy, you could just be like, okay, cool, Lilith's British in this one. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there are things you can get away with. Like, I don't doubt special effects makeup is gonna make it that, like, Lilith looks, or that Cate Blanchett's gonna look younger. The only thing is, like, why not just do an animated movie? Because with animated, you can just bring the fucking voice actors back.
Or even, like, CGI.
Well, maybe not CGI.
I mean, animated CGI, kind of a mix of the two.
Well, yeah, I think it's just they're gonna step away from something with Borderlands that made it unique, which was the cell shading design of the game.
Yep.
Where it's gonna be like, okay, cool, so this isn't Borderlands anymore.
Or they're gonna try to do that in a live action movie.
Like, you can make cell shading look good. Like when people have cosplayed for Borderlands, they have cell shaded themselves, and it looks fine.
Yeah, but do you have faith that the studio's gonna do that, or are they gonna cut corners?
They're gonna definitely cut corners.
Bingo.
Like, that's what I'm not looking forward to. The fact of we're gonna get a movie of where like we're gonna notice things of like this isn't a Borderlands movie. This has like the only thing that this has to do with Borderlands is that Borderlands characters are in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think it's just they should have gone with an animated movie. Just bring the voice actors back. Because at this point, you're now going to have people being like, okay, cool. Jamie Lee Curtis has to live up to the voice actress of Tannis. Lilith has to live up to that. You know, you're going to have all of this. And it's, well, the guy playing Krieg, can he even fucking do Krieg?
Yeah, I mean...
I'll ask, what Krieg are we getting? Are we getting, like, psychopath Krieg, or are we getting sane Krieg? Which one are we getting?
I don't fucking know. And I think that's the problem. Like I said, with you, I'm not excited for this movie. Gonna go see it. What up, Alfonso, in YouTube chat. I'm not excited for this movie. I'm not. And it's one of those to where I'm gonna come in with extremely low expectations. Am I gonna see it? Abso-fucking-lutely. And
I think you forgot to include a not there at the end.
Abso not fucking, like, I mean, I'm going to see it. It's one of those things where I'm going to go in with as low as expectations as possible so that if it's not good, it's almost like how JD was about the Celtics season at the end of the year. I'm just going to go in low expectations of the playoffs, and if we get bounced, we get bounced. That's how I'm looking at this movie. Low expectations. If it's good, great. I'm hyped then. If not, screw it. I have nothing to be upset about because I didn't have any expectations for it at all. But that is going to do it for MVP Games Live today. Make sure to let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Remember, join the MVP Discord today, greatest community in the universe. That link is in the description. You can also look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/MVPvids, link down below in the description as well. We have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers for you to help support us if you would like to and get rewarded for doing so. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you're staying in tune with everything going on with MVP Entertainment, and also hit that notification, or as I call it, the notification bell, so that you're staying notificated or notified. Notificated on everything going on at MVP. That's going to do it for Soapy and I today. We'll be back tomorrow for a jam-packed Thursday show. Soapy and I will be doing MVP Sports Live on our sister channel, MVP Sports. So go ahead and head over there if you want to check out that. Like I said, Soapy and I will be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for being as awesome as you always are. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.